Shalom, shalom. First, I want to start off by giving all honor, praises, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors unto the elders, apostles, and bishops, the GMS Great Millstone who rule well, teaching, edifying, peace, and blessings to you sincere Akyam, while Akwat in his household of faith. My name is Ishaya from the GMS Arizona Church in Ottawa, Matazah. Gonna make an edifying video going into, what this devil Nero Trump, was saying. And ultimately, man, these devils are being controlled by a higher, elite class Edomite, the top banking families, right? The devils that are in control of the whole nine. Okay, you got the Amalekites, the so-called small hats that control a lot of these, all of these bankings. They do these major. They control the money that controls the world. Right, the scriptures even talk about the love of money, is not evil. Or the money itself is not evil, but the love of money is the root of all evil. All right, these devils use that money because scriptures also talk about money is a support. They use that money to control nations, to control kings, to control, Republicans and Democrats. They control councils. All right, you can make a person do.
But then he goes on television and says,
"Oh." Let's click this video right here.
But then he goes.
And before we begin, fair use, fair use. All right, fair use, fair use.
On television and says, "Oh, Trump is a dictator. He's a dictator," and a lot of people are so the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's
and
the
look at the fucking pride on this devil, man. Look at the pride. It's talking about Trump's a dictator. And guess what? Bros wouldn't be surprised if this is the last presidential election. Okay, this being the last presidential election, because what this devil Nero Trump has already did is superseded the U.S. government, man. This devil has done a lot of things that he shouldn't be able to get away with, but he's able to get away with, man, because ultimately these things are moved like chess pieces in the secret council of these devils, man, of the top banking families that are controlling this whole play on the left hand side, which is ultimately under the hand of the Heavenly Father, because the scriptures say the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. All right, the ultimate king of this world right now is Esau Edom. All right, saying it to ad nauseum again, the top rich banking families, the so-called Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Rothschilds, those Rothschilds, even believing that name goes down into Edom, man. These devils are around. They've always been around. Going back to even 300-400 years ago, there were still books being written about secret society, so-called secret societies. It's not a seed theory, man. A lot of these things are come to fruition, and certain things are speculation. We're not out here telling y'all that, there's fucking reptiles and shit like that. That's bogus. But we are saying that there is a secret council of these high, ultra-rich Edomites, these devils, all right, that are trying to overcome, ultimately, the Heavenly Father, man. These devils are moving forward with that NWO, that RFID micro C-hip, to get total control over a man and woman, free and poor, young and old, rich and bond. All right, Revelation 13 and verse 16, man. They're trying to control the whole world with this RFID micro C-hip. And this devil Nero Trump, man, he pulls strings to make certain things happen. Under that ultimate Pinocchio, not Pinocchio, what's the word for it? The puppet, by his fucking puppet master, man. He does certain things that causes up, strife so that they can usher in further that NWO, man. All right, so let's just finish listening to this.
I'd rather have a dictator, but I'm not a dictator. Not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country's in danger, and it is in danger in these cities, I can do it. But then he goes on television.
So basically just, saying the fact that he could do whatever the hell he wants, whenever the hell he wants, if he sees so fit, okay? And that's the type of nature that we're dealing with these devils, man. This is Psalms chapter 47 and verse 11. It actually might be chapter 49, Salakia. 49 and verse 11, it says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. You know, and if you even look back at the annexation of the state of Hawaii, man, ultimately, you know, Esau, Edom, you know, them rich banking families took over the king there, and then eventually superseded the queen, and then through, you know, all that murder and all that besieging, they then just took over Hawaii and made it as a part of the United States of America, man. Totally besieging a nation, covering up all you know, that whole entire thing that they did there, man. You know, these devils, look at what they did to the tribe of Gad. They fucked Gad up so bad. Ultimately, it was by the hand of the Heavenly Father using them, right? That you don't even really see Gad around no more, man. And if you do, they pushed onto these dirty ass, dry reservations that are unfruitful as shit. So any little bit of anything that Gad does get, they burn it on alcohol and prostitution and drugs, man. And I can say that because I've seen this shit, man. I grew up, you know, around that. On my mom's side, you know, all my family's Gad and Issachar. And even Issachar fucked up. You know, most of them in Mexico, but the ones that are here, they wheelchair bound and drinking Shasta Cola, man. So broke they can't even afford Coca-Cola, man. You know how fucked up that is? My grandma has dirt floors to this very day. I got grandparents that live in these hogans, which is just basically like like a shed, you know, and it's got nothing but a dirt floor and it has a furnace in the middle of it. It's from my grandfather's, and they got these hard ass beds. They don't even have real fucking beds. My grandpa sleeps on a wood slab. That's how fucked up Gad is now. And guess what? He's still smoking and drinking. He goes to work just to be able to afford smokes and alcohol, man. You know, and that's the type of fucked up shit that's going on in these reservations. That's the type of shit that makes you fear Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai more, man. Because guess what? If you even, you know, ask them anything about these scriptures, man, they know nothing. So it's a blessing to be a part of this truth, man. Because these devils are coming down. These devils are about to come down even tighter, man. This is Revelation 12 and verse 12. And this reads, Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down to you having great wrath. That's that great wrath, man. Because ultimately the fangs, man, this devil's fangs are about to show. All right? This devil's fangs are about to show, and they about to show real fucking bright, man. You know, and while the rest of Jake's out here trusting him, we're gonna be in that 1 Corinthians the 9th chapter spirit, man. Not 9th chapter, 1 Corinthians 2 and what was it? 2 and is it 2 Corinthians? Salakia, bear with me for 1 second. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, we are not ignorant of his devices, man. And ultimately, man, these devils are operating under Satan, man. These devils are conjuring up evil spirits on the left-hand side, you know, primarily to keep oppressing you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. Because they know when the Israelites get right, ultimately when the elect are gathered, they're done, man. Their rulership is over. Because the scriptures say in Romans 9, you know, for Esau is the end and Jacob is beginning that followeth, man. All right, Sirach 10, you know, because their unrighteous proceedings, the kingdom is transferred unto one that is profitable. They understand that this is the end of the kingdom, man. That's why they're trying to move forward with these fucking, all these different plots, man, these schemes. These devils search deep, as the scriptures say, man. But I wanted to get Judith 5 and verse 11, man. And this reads, is it 5 and 11 or 5 and 21? God, this 5 and 20. Nah, we'll start at 18. It says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore. And we were just talking about from Gad, man. When you depart from Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, you're going to be destroyed. All right, the children of Israel aren't able to fight against these heathen nations, man, because what is Esau ultimately given, man? The gift of the sword. And these other heathen nations that are round about, which are in partnership with them, man. The nations aren't in partnership with us. And ultimately, when we follow in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we don't want to be partners with these devils, man. We might be cordial with nations, but ultimately, we don't be conjoined in that. Because the nation of Israel, man, when they're set back up in the kingdom of Yahweh Shai, there isn't going to be no allied nations and all that bullshit. It's going to be the kingdom of Israel, the nation of Israel, that is going to be leading for the rest of eternity. While all the other nations are going to be working under us, under our subjection, following our law, statutes, commandments that were still bestilled within us, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And as for Esau, Edom, he after pursuing Obadiah, these devils gonna be put away after 1,000 years, man. Put away, extinct, gone, no more. All right. It says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captive into a land that is not theirs, going into them Deuteronomy 28 curses, man. And it says, and the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. That Jeremiah 4:17, we've been ripped away from our heritage. All right, it says, but now, and ultimately, man, a thing about being ripped away from our heritage, where are we going to return to? Or where are we gonna think that we are supposed to be at, man? Ultimately, whatever nation that we're scattered abroad, man. You got Jakes out there thinking they Muslim, Jakes out there thinking they Buddhist. You got Jakes that look like they're Japanese people, serving unto the god of Moab. You got Jakes out here in Babylon that are atheist, Christian, Catholic, the whole fucking nine, man. But it's only gonna be a small remnant that's gonna be able to come back to this truth, man. That's the Lord's elect, okay? For the rest of Jake is out here going to be leaning on Esau, Edom. And look at what we just seen, man. The nature of this fucking devil. Look at him. I'm not a dictator. But, like, he don't care, man. He knows he a damn dictator. There is no true fucking Republican, Democrat, liberal. There's no divide. It's all under one government. It's all under one ultimate control. You think your votes matter? I was at work the other day. This patient said, if the people that didn't vote voted, we'd been able to not, and voted for the other opposition instead of Trump. Trump wouldn't be in office right now. You think the people actually, their votes go towards, the inauguration of a certain president? They don't give two shits about a vote. The votes are probably not even really counted, to be honest. They probably just be out there just marking down random ass numbers, and ultimately they know who's gonna be the next in that steed, man. These devils are running in secret, all right? This is let's get a couple precepts on that, man, because mentioned it a few times. This is gonna be Job 5, and we'll start at verse 13, and that reads. We'll start at 12. It says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And what is that enterprise? That NWO. It says, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong, man. And if you read that in the NLT, it says, he traps the wise in their own cleverness. And ultimately, the scriptures talk about it in Daniel, oh, thou art wiser than Daniel, pursuing, talking about Esau, Edom, man. This devil has been given these gifts of knowledge to be able to do certain things like split atoms, make nukes, atomic bombs, Oppenheimer type things, man. This devil has turned rocks into mustard gas. And that's ultimately through that left-hand side, which the Lord ultimately gave them the knowledge to be able to do. Okay, and he uses that knowledge to create cunning schemes, man. Like it says right here, so their cunning schemes are their wart, man. That they're schemes. And let's go into they don't got the word schemes here. Let's real quick in the etymology, we're gonna get that word schemes. A scheme, all right? It says all right, it says right here I wanted to get in this bottom part, it says the sense of program of action, all right, to draft a book, to outline, all right, parts or elements of a system, all right, and that's what these devils are literally trying to develop right now, parts and elements of a system. You got 6G rolling out, you got neural causing up strife all over the place, you got the mainstream media distracting all the people, while a lot of things are happening in the background. You got laws and legislations that are going out to ultimately attack you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and oppress the people of the whole land, man. So ultimately they gonna come in, all right, order add chaos. So they're gonna add that order and all the chaos that they caused, all right? Why does nobody question the chemtrails? Why does nobody really question the food? Why does nobody question the fact that the water's so screwed up? Why does nobody question ultimately the fact that there's literally martial law happening within the country right now? Nobody gives a shit. All they care about is what, Kai Cenat doing. All they care about is how many yards Aaron Rodgers threw before he fucking, And all they care about is whether LeBron finna play another season. This is nuts, man. This is fucking stupid. All right, but ultimately, it's only going to be a certain people that's going to understand what's going to happen before it even happens, man. And it's the duty of the prophets to, sound that alarm, to blow that trumpet before it happens. Be on high alert, man. Stay tapped in with brothers' videos. Stay tapped into the spirit so that we can be aware of these things, man. So that lest Satan should get advantage of us, we be not ignorant of his devices. But it says, I'm gonna start this 14 in the NLT. It says they find it is dark in the daytime. They grope at noon as it were night. All right, so they meet in the darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. So these devils having those secret councils, man. Ultimately, to plot out the destruction of these so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and take over the whole world, pursuing the 1 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and Ezekiel, the 28th chapter, man. These devils are trying to be like the Most High. They're, thy pride has deceived thee. Thou art no God, man. But ultimately, that's what their prerogative is, to try to be a God, man. But they're not. Because the scriptures talk about also in Job, I believe it's the 17th chapter, at the height of their sufficiency, they should be brought into straits, man. So ultimately, at the very point where they thought that they had it, the Lord going to come and he going to set all this down, man. It only going to take him an hour, okay? You want to be on the right side of that judgment, because when the Lord comes back, it's like when your mom or your dad, really, when your dad pulled back up to the house and y'all 3 kids was just fucking around, y'all 3-4 kids, 4 monkeys jumping on the bed and shit. Your mom gonna bust down the door and start whooping straight ass. And she don't do it for no 24 hours. She gonna break everybody off in about 10, 15 minutes. It's gonna cause about 24 hours worth of straight soreness. All right? 4 monkeys jumping on the bed. You gonna come in here and just start whooping belt to ass. And ultimately, the Lord's gonna come and he's gonna put straight destruction upon the face of this earth, man. The scriptures say the slain of the Lord shall be many. All right, not few, many. The Lord's going to come, matter of fact, real quick, Revelation, the 14th chapter. I want to hold that. Revelation, the 14th chapter. I'm going to get the 20th verse. And it says, the angel thrust in the sickle of the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Man, that's these people, man. And it's the Lord coming back with this indignation. It says, the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress even unto the horse bridles by the space of 1,600 furlongs, man. So imagine that blood just like all the way up to the height of a horse's, a horse's bridle, man, which is really, about parallel to the saddle, all right? And if brothers ever been on a horse, man, that's probably about at least 5.5 to 6 feet, depending on the horse, maybe even 7, 8 feet, depending on the horse. It's all blood. Imagine that. That the Lord gonna come back with great wrath, man. He ain't coming back with just a little bit of anger. He coming back with great wrath, man. Because these devils has furthered the affliction. So he's coming back to deliver judgment on so many different ways, man. On these devils, on you Jakes, and ultimately to bring in this kingdom. And it says, let's get this Psalm 64. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongues like swords, man. Ultimately, man, sharpening their tongues like a sword and bending their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. All right, it says, that's what Trump was doing just right now, or Nero. It says, they that shoot in secret at the perfect sudden, Salakia. It's a long day at work. I just worked a 15-hour shift. Whew. Salakia. This is Psalms chapter 64 and verse 7. It says, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily, that they say, who shall see them? All right, they search out iniquity. And also, man, these devils think that the things that they're doing isn't hidden, man. With them Epstein files coming out, you seeing a lot of names ringing a lot of bells, man. You got devils that are, aligned with Palantir, the surveillance company. Ultimately, that's going to usher in as an accessory to that NWO, man. you see a lot of devils like these high politicians. Ultimately, these devils are on a left-hand ministry, man. They're operating a satanic ministry on the left-hand side, man. And these guys are tied to the wicked elite, man. And some of them are of that wicked elite that are at the very top. All right? And they think that it can't be seen, but ultimately, man, they're getting revealed. And what's gonna happen? What happens when a devil gets revealed? They get angry. They get rash. They come down with great wrath. That's like you trying to open up a light on Dracula. You gonna try to chop your ass up before you get that light out. Because he knows once that light is completely revealed, he gonna be killed. All right? Ultimately, man, you know, hey, we in them end times, brothers. It says they encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquity. They accomplish diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But Yahweh Hashem Yahushua shall shoot them with an arrow, and suddenly they shall be wounded. All right, so their inward thought is deep, man. Their heart is deep to search out iniquity, man. A deep wickedness, darkness. Okay, and that's what they're trying to put upon the whole face of the earth, because the scriptures talk about, as a king, so shall the people be. All right? And you even see that in these people nowadays, man. There's darkness everywhere. You can go to certain places, and you could just feel the dark spirit there, man. I believe a few months ago, brothers was making videos about Las Vegas, man. There's like a dark spirit in Las Vegas. Like you go there, and I haven't gone there since I was a boy, but you know, I mean, so I can't really have a personal experience like with that. But I know people are making videos saying they go to Las Vegas and they just feel like this dark, heavy, demonic spirit all over the place, man. Ultimately, because that place is ridden with wickedness, man. You know, Babylon named it, you know, Sin City. They just named it Sin City for a reason. There's all kinds of atrocities that's happening out there, man. All kinds of just bugged out shit happening over there. You know, and that's what Esau's doing and displaying upon his whole country, man. This disgustingness, this devilish work. Okay? And this Babylon, you know, is just like that. Dark. It's dark being here now, man. The mirth has ceased here, man. Flee from Babylon, Akim. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up with that. You know, we gotta be alert of these devils, man. You know, we in them end times. But I want to lastly give honor, praise, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, Shalom.